Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Big shout out to everybody tuning in. Big shout out to everybody pulling up in the live chat before everything got started. Getting your seats and get settled in. I see we got Paul in the live chat first, Galactus in second, and Mary Beanie in third. And in that order, that is our live chat podium. Today, we do have a conversation, but before we start that conversation, big shout out to Dreads, Galactus, Hugh would do it. I see you, everybody pulling up. We're going to talk about something very historical and that's great that has happened in the sport of motorsports that when it does happen, it is groundbreaking. But I would like to also say the fact that it is that groundbreaking when it happens is a double-edged sword. It is very awesome. It is beautiful. It is great to see. And at the same time, it is concerning. It gets a little bit down. It gets a bit of why. And that is black people winning in the sport of motorsports is a very historical thing. And I'm very excited to congratulate Myles Rowe, not only on his maiden win, but being the first African-American driver to win in Indy Nxt. Did it in a very nice fashion too. Very nice pass in that turn. It is oval racing, but he is aspiring to do other things. He wants to do Formula One. He's willing to, he's trying to work his way into IndyCar. This is, I think, his second year in Indy Nxt. And he is from Georgia, Powder Springs, Georgia. His family and them, I think his family now, I don't think they live in Georgia. Or, I mean, it's not to say they don't have a place still here in Georgia. I think they live in the New York area. And that is kind of what's going to happen when you get into motorsports, regardless. And you have to relocate. We know that several drivers in Formula One relocated from their original country or their homes to the UK to be in the limelight and then the direct stream of getting into the Formula One ranks. And Myles Rowe has done the same and it's paid off. And I want to just send a big shout out, but I also want to commend the young brother on not losing himself just yet, right? Because you've heard me say this before, and if you haven't heard me say this before, I'm going to say it now. It is a big situation about somebody's character maintaining them on where success takes them, right? That's a big thing. Can you maintain your character wherever success takes you? And sometimes that is a hard thing to do. And Myles Rowe right now is doing a hard thing, and he's doing it in a very great way. He is not afraid to say that he's here representing his black community, right? And nobody that doesn't have any bias to say about that, but we all understand the black community is not largely represented in the sport of motorsports. We have one Formula One driver that is a black man, and that's Lewis Hamilton. Happens to be the greatest Formula One driver, but that's one. We got Hugo coming up through the ranks, also joining the McLaren family, trying to see him come up. But I don't think in the grand scheme of it all, we just want diversity in the sport and equal treatment, period. Whether that's a woman driving, a black person of color driving, a black American driving, a black UK, black wherever, white drivers, we just want to see a grid that represents what the world actually looks like. We just want to see a grid be represented by drivers who are extremely talented, regardless of what they look like, right? And we're not getting that on so many fronts. We're not seeing some of the talent that we could see because of the financial aspect of racing. And Myles Rowe is an anomaly when it comes to coming from that community about that. You all know I've done some work. I've talked to children, talked to schools. I've tried to get kids in the motorsports by karting. Galactus in the super chat says I saw him race at Mid-Ohio July 4th weekend. And big shout out, let me say this right now. Big shout out to Galactus, our fam, going to different race, representing, taking pictures, enjoying it. He had an awesome time. I do want to say, because he brought it to my attention like my brother typically does, will say, hey, J-Man, don't forget about this. Hey, J-Man, you might not want to, say that. He's a very good compass for me when it comes. He's one of my good moral compasses in the fam. And I would like to say in the Discord, you don't just have to share your Formula One experience in that server. If you go to an Indy race, IMSA, Rolex, Le Mans, you can share your experiences in that server. And I might change the name of that server so that you all don't feel as if, okay, if it's not Formula One, I can't post it because I'm at a NARA drag race. No, you can post that there. So big shout out to Galactus. Big shout out to 083, gifting somebody one of the best gifts that you can get. Brandon Hardesty. Hardesty. Hey, you got a Wolfpack membership. Come into the fam and chat it up with us. But back to Myles Rowe. I would like to say another thing that is very appreciated is that the brother is not changing how he looks to fit what somebody thinks he should look like. He is who he is. And right now, very, very, very proud. Very proud of this moment, of this day. I'm very proud to see that he's 25 years old. 25 years old. And I'm really hoping that he gets an opportunity to move up the ranks. It's not a lot of drivers. We can probably literally use two hands to count black drivers who have come into a sport that have been able to get up into the ranks, and they've been extremely talented to actually get there. You know, one of them has been on this channel as my guest, Willie T. Ribbs. We got Lewis Hamilton. We got Myles Rowe. We got another brother who was racing in stock truck racing and then came up. I mean, and then after that, we have to go back into some of the older events, even before Willie T. Ribbs came in. And then we had another brother that was in the truck drag racing. So it gets really, it's a small room. It's a small room. It's a small number. And I'm going to tell you, it's not because of the lack of talent or ability. It is because of the lack of awareness, knowing, and the financial situation of it. And I think Myles Rowe talks about this before. I had watched one of his interviews before, and he was talking about it, and it was just the money. It's not only, and you all know as far as me, having my daughter participate in karting, it's the money aspect. The upfront money, the money to continuously compete, the money to get training, the money to maintenance, the money to advertise. It is a large financial continuous investment. And there is no way that it's not possible, but there's so much out there that has become what we call the norms in the black community to compete in that a lot of them don't think about it. And then another big part of this is the treatment of black people in some of these sports. The treatment of black people in motorsports is not great. It hasn't been great. The relationship has had some stains on it, and it's being built and repaired over those years and decades. But there are still a lot of people, just as you know, when I came on and I started even talking about motorsports content, there was a lot of N-words. There was a lot of black, get your ass out of here, go to NASCAR, like NASCAR treated us great to begin with. Come on, man. We already know how that goes. But these are the things that happen, right? We can watch it even on a large scale where we see it even in other sports. Even in other sports that might be so much more acceptable of diversity, we still see racism creep in. And I have no doubt that he's experienced. Bubba Wallace is another one, right? Bubba Wallace has experienced a large his fair share of criticism, but I don't think Bubba Wallace is a different character. I've reached out to him before to try to get him in and kind of talk about it. But Myles Rowe is from traditionally Georgia family, raised up. He's done karting. I think he started indoor karting, honestly, first. I want to say he started indoor karting first, and then went to karting, rent karting, and then so on. He just got his ranks and came up. And then Karoof was the other one. That's right, NASCAR Craftsman's truck. That's who I was thinking about, Karoof. And I even reached out to Karoof. And this is also what I'm going to say. If Myles Rowe, because I have this criticism on Lewis Hamilton as well, okay? I do have this criticism on Lewis Hamilton, and it's a fair criticism. But just as we have and we celebrate and we commend drivers that come from these communities, these drivers have to also remember to do work with those who talk about you and applaud you in this community. And I'm talking about in the content creation space, right? Because we see so many, we literally had 2 white content creators who came out of pretty much nowhere when it came into motorsports with little criticism or none, and just get fed high name profile people as guests, even though they sat there drunk on their ass, or I'll say tipsy on their ass, disrespected 2 drivers as far as saying that they don't even really care about motorsports, and they're still able to continue on. These drivers are drivers that we support. You have to look back and say, hey, you know what? Let me go do a podcast interview with so-and-so. Let me go sit down with so-and-so. How many interviews, I'm just keeping it a buck. How many podcast episodes or interviews have you seen Lewis Hamilton do with a black podcast or content creator? Zach doesn't count. The young racing kid doesn't count. All right, because he's a young Carter. They brought him up, F1 kids. He's there, direct access, plugged in because they're working that. How many have you seen Lewis Hamilton do? How many have you seen him appear on as a guest? It's going to be kind of hard to come up with that number. So it needs to be a collaboration on all fronts, because we're definitely pushing and motivating that, but we also are limited in this area as well. So it's a parallel on that. And I just say that if you want to bridge the gap and you want to make everything stronger, like you all support heavily. Y'all support heavily. Y'all come in, y'all add to the community. Y'all go out, y'all share, you bring your ideas, your perspectives. The environment, I believe, would be totally different. Just like the environment is going to be different with Myles Rowe in it. Because a lot of kids are going to start seeing, or some kids are going to start seeing somebody that they identify with. Myles Rowe not changing his appearance, not trying to look or conform to a way where somebody might say you'll be more accepted in our room if you do this and do that. If he stays looking like he looks like he is who he is to be, there are kids that are going to look and they're going to identify and say, 1, I didn't know I could do that. 2, I didn't know that they would accept me for me and who I am to do that. And 3, there's something more outside of the big 3: basketball, football, track. Basketball, football, track. I didn't even want to say rap. I'm done with the rap thing. Basketball, football, track. More than something outside of the big 3. Then you start creeping into baseball. All right. So most kids don't even know about lacrosse. They just don't. They just don't know about lacrosse. It's not something that's really typically put in front of them. But with him doing what he's doing, especially from the area that he's from, and him having the character and the personality and the integrity that I've listened and heard him project through how he conducts himself, this is a good thing. This is an awesome thing. And I'm hoping he goes far. And I'm hoping that other sponsors will get off of their bullshit, let me just call it like it is, and say, listen, this is a kid that's ready to go. All he needs is what we provide to the other group of people that are lighter than him to have the fair opportunity to see what can he really do. That's all he needs. Who's going to do it? Who's going to step up and do it? And the problem is that we have to say that. The problem is that is a conversation that can be had. Like, who's going to do it? Why should there have to be any, like, who's going to do it? It should be, it's going to happen. Because there's a pool of people out there with financial backing that are just looking for a talented driver who can win, looks like they can win, and looks like they can take it further to win to the next level. But it's not as linear as that. Especially when it comes to us, it's not as linear as that. And there's no doubt that his pathway is not going to be as linear as some of his other counterparts and other fellow Americans or fellow human beings. So yeah, this is a big thing. His maiden win and being the first one in history is always big, but it is also heavy. It is also heavy because now He's cracked and kicked in the door some here. How much further can he take it? And there's going to be a lot there. You know what? Him not winning, he would have faced less criticism than him winning. That's what's also crazy. Paul in the super chat says, happy Monday, fam. Smash the like button. Peace and love. That's what's also crazy. The fact that he won and he's done something first in history, I bet you the trolls come out. I bet you. And that's how sometimes you know you're succeeding. That's how sometimes you know that you are gaining success. I bet you the trolls come out. I bet you there's going to be some harsh things to be said about him. I bet you that they're going to try to knock him down a peg or two. I bet you. They don't like that. Work so long to keep you from being anything but other than thinking that being just outside slavery is great. And you think you're going to break history and go far in this? Yeah, he's going to get it. But I think he's strong enough to take that. And I also think that there are people that are in the sport that are tired of that coming from even their own people. Facts. Card doesn't care. Male, female, black, white. Thank you. The card does not care. The card does not care. The card doesn't care. It doesn't. And I'm tired of not seeing a woman even get the opportunity in Formula One, as we've watched several men that we know weren't damn good in perspective of their teammates or even the rest of the grid. I mean, that's crazy. And it's not because they can't. It's because people that have the money won't do it because there are the good old boy. We're not going to do it. We're not going to support a woman. It's just not going to happen. I can go support a guy who's not as good as her, but I feel better doing it. That's crazy. It's crazy, but it's happening. It's happening. There should have already been a woman besides for Susie Wolf testing in the sport on the grid of Formula One. Logan Sargent, Jamie Chadwick, put her in. Put her in. Liam Lawson, Jamie Chadwick, just put her in. Just put her in. Come on, Latifi, Crash Tiffy. Come on, Jamie Chadwick. She should have got a chance. Put her in. Antonio Giovinazzi, come on, Jamie Chadwick, put her in. There are several drivers that I could sit here and name that have had the opportunity because they're males and that people feel more comfortable with their money there because they just can't get their head out of their asshole. The Jamie Chadwick should have had opportunity in Formula One with Williams already by now. Paul in the super chat says, George head deflating, going to sound like a valve stem core removed from forming an overinflated tire. That's a visual. That's a visual. Good like to send a super chat said Chadwick raced Le Mans this year. She was cooking. And that's Galactus. This is also the point. She cooked in the W series. She did well in Indy. She cooking. It's like she has to do 20 times as better to get just an opportunity that somebody did 0.5 as good because he's a man. It's crazy, man. And another thing I'm going to say in comparison to Bubba Wallace, I don't think Bubba Wallace surrounded himself with the right people. I think a bit Bubba Wallace was too worried about trying to fit in too much to the point where he neglected his other cultural background. And I think that came to a detriment of him. I just do. And hopefully Myles Rowe can surround himself with a diverse group of people that have good intentions, not biased, not discriminating, just want to see another competitor or another human being do well. That is the best thing you can do. If you try too hard to only have a certain group of people, because if I have this group of friends that looks this way, then other people that look at me might not give me as much criticism or might give me more acceptance because you know what? He's a black guy, but he's all his friends are white. All his friends are white. So, you know, that black guy might not be that bad. We might can let him in. We might can let him in because everybody around him's white. This is the truth. This is the truth. This is what's happening out here. So Bubba Wallace surround himself with a bunch of people that don't look like him. And I think because he felt it would make him more acceptable. You don't need to do that. It's a shame that, yes, you think you have to, and you do because it actually does work, but it doesn't work for you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be heavily impacted because you're thinking about it all the time. I should be able to walk in with a diverse group of friends, regardless of how skewed the numbers may be, and say, hey, it doesn't matter. That dude is who he is. That woman is who she is. Heavy competitor. We know your work. Come on in. Bring your people. Come on in. I shouldn't have to try to change my image, change who I hang with, change, some things you got to come on. Some things you do need to adjust. You just can't go in disrespecting people and being an ass. You can, but that also will not get you far. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about him being able to be him and be accepted. There's no way I've listened to this young man talk. There's no way anybody should have a problem with him coming in any room, but people will just because they'll see this. As soon as they see this, it's a wrap. So yeah, Myles Rowe, keep your circle right. Don't be afraid to step outside of your norms, and understand that not everybody that approaches you is somebody you want in your circle. Because I'll keep it a buck with you. Sometimes there are things working behind the scene that will approach you seeming as they are friendly, but in hindsight, they are really trying to set you up for your downfall. They're trying to get in, and then so your family needs to be very aware. They need to vet very heavily for you. Your management team needs to be very aware, and I'm pretty sure they are. And also, in today's climate, I think I've seen growth and progress in the people that exist in the sport saying that they're just tired of the bullshit. They're just tired of feeling this way. It's not even really how I feel. This is not even really me. This is just somebody who was older than me that told me that this was the way, and I just kept carrying it on, and I don't even know why I did it. There are those situations out there. There are people that really would never have been like that if somebody else didn't tell them that that's the way you should be. And these people are starting to be like, why? Why do I got to do that? I don't even feel right doing it. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's a cool dude. She's cool. I don't even know why I have to discriminate or feel like because they're running in front of me or he wins a race, I got to feel bad about that. It's not your sport. It's a sport. It's not your sport. It's a sport. But the problem is we have regimes that'll be like, it's my sport. I mean, just think about it. Colin Kaepernick lost his football career because he took a knee for the fact that black people were being killed injusticeably in America. He didn't rape anybody. He didn't beat anybody. He didn't damn molest anybody. He didn't hit anybody with a car and kill them. He didn't do any of that. All he did was say, I'm taking a knee in representation that this country is in danger and people that look like me have been treated unequally. And I'm just using my platform to peacefully show what I support. They killed that man's career. Killed his career. They never let him back in. And the only way they would have ever let him back in is if he would have been willing to completely strip himself of anything that he had gained, any respect that he had built, any self-awareness that he had got through that. He would have had to walk through the town while being whipped. That's basically what they would have wanted in order to let him in. He wasn't going to do it. But he lost his career just for that. We've watched players do worse and still have their career. So what does that tell you? You can beat somebody. You can crash into somebody. You can have a DWI. You can do domestic violence, and we'll still find a way to let you back in to continue to make money off of you. But if you take a stand against us for the savage things we do to your people, You will not have your sporting career, sir. We will teach you a lesson. And that is part of the problem, not only in football, but in motorsports. This is just the truth. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. A lot of people don't want to hear it. They're going to say it's real, fake. That's not real, Jay. No, I got too much evidence, factual evidence to say that it's real, that it happens. They're going to say it because they don't want to be pointed out. Why you think they wore white hoods over their face? Cowardly people doing things they claim they stand behind, but don't want their faces shown because they cowardly. Try to do it in the name of religion because they cowardly. No, it's real. So Myles Rowe, continue to do your thing, good sir. I'm wishing more success for you. I am very happy and proud to see this, and I hope that I'm going to see more, and I hope that you're going to continue to go through the ranks, and who knows where we might see them. IndyCar, maybe that's a stop. Formula One, maybe that's a possibility. Hugo is closer to the Formula One because he's in the F Series, and he's even come up this season, and I think he's a wonderful talent. So there's some opportunity there, but it could be a lot more. It's kind of hard to talk about this because I don't want to seem negative about it, but it's a proud, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It's a proud moment. At the same time, it's like a damn moment. And eventually, hopefully it gets to about damn time moment. All right. So big shout out to Myles Rowe. Big shout out to you all in the super chat. Shout out to everybody pulling up. Big shout out to everybody supporting the channel. We got a major race coming up soon. We still got another week. We got another, really, it's like 2 weeks, honestly. Is it? It's like last week, this week. So yeah, we got another, to me, it's like 2 weeks. We got another week, but next week we'll be in race trim, getting ready to go into Spa. So we're going to be gearing up then, but we got a lot of things that are going to be talking about this week because there's a lot of things still cooking, a lot of things still happening. Still a lot of things talking about Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari. Aston Martin is heating up, especially with Adrian Newey creeping around the paddock with his now green notebook. There are a lot of things that are going to be heating up in Formula One, but I definitely wasn't going to let this go by without something being said about this. And that's just how and who I am. So big shout out to everybody. I will see you all soon. Stay healthy, stay positive, and remember, life only goes forward. You can't go back. So live it the best you can in the day that you're in. Carpe diem, people. Carpe diem. All right, peace and love. We're out.